to briefly introduce the game Human Fall Flat. It is a hilarious and light-hearted puzzle-solving platformer game set in dreamscapes. With the infamous shabby red dot physics, the characters in the game do not follow your orders smartly, making the game even more fun. The constraint I come up with is that the characters in the game must holding their hands together all the time. I come up with this because Human Fall Flat is a game that requires cooperation between players. And the ultimate level of cooperation is a team to move and act as a whole one. So I think it will be very interesting to physically become a whole one and to test our tactic understanding.
拉上回来边上。那我别这拉好。就大概那个，比如这时候拉你的手，记得要把那个。
等这边
没拉上，
等一下。
按好你的。就大家记住，一定要按住左键和右键之后，一个键按好你的。
就都要。
再来一个。
好了吧？还没有拉上。
A few moments later.
可以了吧？
走吧。
大家往这边烧，把这个箱子拖过来。
OK,
go. Let go.
Let it go.
卡住了。
来 ，OK。
我们现在好像在抓着某个人的脖子。
Let me do it. No. Okay. I can do it.
我上不去。
I can do it. 等一下，伸手，然后。
我们直接抓这个箱子，
那行，
抓到了，往后走。
走。哦 ，Great。
我们的网络好像不是很稳定，有点卡顿。
没关系，
都没有关系。
我们可以等你。
OK, go. 哇 ，so lag。
哦，这他妈也太搞了，这他妈要怎么弄啊？我操！
没事，搬箱子，这样搬。
先下，好。先下，
我先下来。
先把那个先下来。等一等，让我先按。
你先把它按下来。
好了 ，OK。那我们开始。
然后我把箱子拿上。
好。OK。
Go, let's。
好了，我来按。
电梯不会超载吗？
不会，开电梯。
最后等。
他没有。
谁按呢？你按吧，还是你按比较好。
撞。
这个先撞一下这个没有。
我来按吧，让我来。
让我往这边。
差一点，按到了。按动吗？
没有，
没按到吗？
那是为什么我这里看有声效？
你能再往左靠一点吗？这样你上。
哦，还有。
他在动，他动得很缓慢。
人多吧，很难体会你之类的。
别把我丢下去！别把我挤下去
！OK。
快把我拽上去！
把我拽！
我先把箱子拖过来。Whatever。这也太搞了。哦。
我觉得
我们可能要再走。等会儿，我先把箱子拖出来。我觉得我先把箱子拖出来了，应该可以做到。
我觉得我可以有的救。
是尴尬。 你们有没有人能够？现在是没有人。
没人救了，我现在脚踏实地
OK
在
OK
原地
OK
了。
OK OK OK。
哦
哦
，good， 我觉得可以了，我觉得可以了。
好，然后我再拉他。
你可以下来按电梯把我们送上去，你只要放手就好了。不要把它弄下来啊！不要啊！
我觉得我们现在可能要。
好吧，现在好像完全卡住了。
好。
好，你可能要绕电梯那里，从电梯那里绕回来。
OK， 我觉得我可能要下来一次，就是要不然没办法。然后我看一下怎么。
对，要下来。
对，我可能要下来一次。喂，不是，我现在人怎么回事？我现在人这个。
不要！
我是不是断了？我操！
现在我们就完全卡住了。
对。
绿头盔那位是谁啊？绿头盔那位要想办法爬上去，然后再绕下来，不然我们就要重新拉手了。
我们
这样已经
我好像卡，我好像直接卡住了。
让我尝试去按那个电梯。
然后你动得了吗？
没关系。我们全部走上来，然后我们来拯救这个
我在知道第一方面知道。
为什么本来拉着手的，现在变成了我拉着某个人的头？Why？ 我们一起往前走上去，然后把它拖上来，或者我们直接把箱子推过去，然后我们一起掉下来。
然后把箱子
Oh no！ 这里控制的时候可以给一个悲伤的音乐吗？
可以吗？我觉得有需要加一个好了。我觉得我的手有。
1 hour later。
好，来按。
那我这样，我们稍微往这边移一点。OK。然后箱子你方便拖，你可以拖也可以。OK。
其实应该我们两个空出来的，一人拉一边，然后。
但是我并做不到现在。
拖上去。
算了。
有人抓着地板好像。
Yes。
好。
就好吗？
它这个整体有物理引擎吗？就是它会根据重量调整速度的吗？
对。
2 hours later。
Go。
卡住了箱子。
可能要跳一下，你是我知道了。一起拱一下。
我觉得我们要先往回退一下，我觉得这样。
我觉得也是。
然后调整一下角度。
好。
有了。
OK， 过去。我们出冠军。
we did。
好，那我推，那你抓。你别进。Closer。
放到没有？
放到，哎，小心，好。
放手，大家一起放啊！
哦耶！好
，Let's go。
哎，不是吧？还有一个，我靠，这关就很僵硬了，我靠。不过应该是一样的。
不。
这个要
我们要先下去。我们全部下来。
我已经下来了。Come on，
这是谁？是不是有抓？
可能有人抓到地板了。
对，肯定是。
我们下去，然后再
就跳一下。
Meanwhile。 Later.
OK OK，
OK，
好，我要按电梯了。
好，你要推，你要推。
我们也要上去吗？我们也要上去，我们要先把它放到那个火车上。
对对对，然后一起。我觉得比较困难可能是那一步，
我们要
就是我们
推火车，推墙。
对推墙那一步可能有点难，
对，
但是稍微试一上吧，应该可以的。这次玩这游戏第二个小时，为什么会玩的这么艰辛的课题？
他把按钮挡住了。我现在看不到我自己。
往上搬，往上搬。
在干嘛？
要不这样吧，我觉得是这样子，就是
那个，对。
按那个可以吗？
按那个应该可以的。
你能按那个然后再跳上来吗？反正他走得很慢。
对。
耶！
Much later.
Let's go, boys.
那我先这样。OK。
他已经过去了。
过去了。
我把车拉过来，拉回来。亮。
拉回来。
那就算了吧，那我就。
好的，我亚蛋。
OK。
我觉得没有了，我觉得我们要重来。好了，等，你们不要动，让我跳过去。我们现在打劫了。
Many hours later.
等一下，我们要先把车推过来了吧，要不然上不去啊。
对。
对，你说的对。
我们这样可以把车推过来吗？我不知道。
又开始 laggy。有人被夹在里面了 ，ouch， 好痛。来，我们要像蜈蚣一样行动，我们要以教育兵为头。
对。
跳上去。
喂
你上电梯。
I can't。不是，电梯还没下来，等一下，让我先。不是，我这边按不了这个左键。这样可以。
75 years later.
我们现在要先想办法把这个箱子丢到这个火车上，我们得先扶过去。
那你来推吧，你来推就好了。
对，我们就往前推就好了，把这个箱子。
你来推
过去。
你稍微还可以。
我怕它翻，我怕翻下去，我怕这个箱子不要翻下去了。车走了 ，no。我觉得我可以救一下他。
我觉得我可以抢救。
我觉得还可以救一下，no。
哇！我妈也太复杂了，这个地方。
Approximately 10 hours later.
也可以是不一定成功。
这样吗？他提示都出来了，我的天啊！
对啊。
他已经觉得我们这帮人太弱智了，这个过不去。
你先走吗？你想先走吗？
我们要箱子先过去吧，我觉得人一过去了，那个车就会动。好，我把车拉过来了。
好。
我觉得可以。
等一下。
可以，朋友们。
nice。
nice。
不要动。我们现在想办法推车，我们抓旁边的墙壁。
对，要抓。不要走，
掉下去了。
没事。
可以，加油。原来还可以这样玩。
加油，下面的2位同志把箱子安全的运抵。
可以了。
上面2位同志拖着我们去开门。
不要阻止我。
加
Okay,
油！
okay, I'm trying.
我们在下面等着你
I'm
们。
trying.
够不够得到？说实话，够不够得到？
好像可以。
不会够不到吧？不要！不要停下来啊！
Wait, just, okay. Okay, I'm doing that. Yes.
他又关上了。
没有压住。
那没事，我们现在至少这样子过去，好吧？我们再走一遍这个流程，我感觉很快了。
再来一遍。
我感觉这很快了。
他希望曙光了。
好。
OK。
我又打击了。
5 minutes later.
他应该给这个做一个奖杯，你知道吗？这个游戏应该给这个玩法做一个奖杯。
这8个人应该是个奖杯，好吧 ？Each together。
白金奖杯。
少说是个白金，好吧？对，至少是个白金，是个隐藏，好吧？这样没有人做过啊，我没看过有人做，还是没有人做过，好像。没人做过，我们就世界上第一个做这个事情。
我们后置在这里批一个奖杯弹出的标志。哦，上来了。
OK。不上来了吗？不上来了吗？
我们有个朋友是不是被夹住了？
好像可以动啊。不可能这边他们上来的，你可以跳一下往上去。
夹住了。
OK，
可以把它拖上来吗？
我胳膊夹住了。
哦，那这样，真的。
他一夹住了，他手被夹住了。
好了。
好，我们现在把手再拉一下。
好。
好了。
OK。Everyone go. We are on the.
然后推墙壁。耶
OK。要不你来摆这个箱子，我感觉我做不到。不过我好像可以。
我好像被人抓了肚皮。
可以的。过了。
好，
放了。
再过去。
One,
2,
3。
可以撤离。
OK。
撤离。
OK， 来。
下车，朋友们。
好，你来吹。
We did.
We did it.
我觉得这个距离差不多了。No！
你可以试着扎一下上来吗？不能是我们这个链接。
或者你们可以尝试跳过去吗？跳过去，然后我们丢一个人过关之类的。
我们是只要一个人过关就可以吗？不是吧？好像。等一下，那个，你再
往前
一点是吧？
墙，然后再往前走一点。
OK。
对。我单手好像没法施展爬墙技巧。
我脚是凌空的，我靠。OK，
有人刹车你的屁股。
动物的怎么车动的？
或者，你们可以尝试把我大过去吗？哎，我可以大，要把你大回去。
对，可以。
那等会走一遍。
好像把一个人拖下来了。
哦，有。
我是走反了方向。
我们再上一次电梯吧。
那也行。
对，我觉得这样我们会不会再上一次电梯比较快一点？
OK。
而且我有意义。哎呀，功败垂成。
可惜他。
我们又，我们要在同一个口径。对。功败垂成，哎呀。
Oh, finally! 哒哒哒哒哒滴。
结束了。
Yeah, we did. We finished the level.
我们可以
把一奖没弹出来，现在在这个屏幕的右上角，登白金成就已达成。
可以做一个好的。
庆祝。
我打算自己再做一个这个
不要跳要把它蹬下去了。
Let's go.
Yeah, go go go!
3, 2, oh, yeah!
During the playthrough, we found playing with this constraint is more fun and challenging than playing the game in the standard way. It actually took us lots of time to hold hands and to become a chain at the beginning and also each time we regroup. I think the first thing I learned is about collaboration. Before playing, I thought the players in the middle of the chain will be bored because their both hands are occupied by others' hands and they cannot grab anything. I thought they might be insignificant during the game, but in fact their actions have big influence on our whole human chain. To move to one direction, we need all of us to move together. If one of us moves to one direction and another one of us to another direction, we will be knocked. And it's funny. I think one of the procedural rhetoric of the game is about the values and ways of cooperation. And playing with this constraint, we enforce this rhetoric because it emphasizes the ideas of act together. It might sound strange, but another thing I learned during playing with this constraint, which I believe it is not a message that the game wanted to deliver originally, is patience. It is because with this constraint, the possibility of failing in the middle of a task weighs a lot, and we have to do it again and again. Also, the speed of the lead with all of us and the boss on it is so slow that it feels like it takes forever. And also there is a life lesson. If you want the cooperation goes smoothly and efficiently, a better way is to divide the task for everyone to do individually, which is called taylorism. Anyway, this constraint is interesting and I highly recommend you to try it out with your friends. Now let's move to part 2.
Human Fall Flat, for me, is a multiplayer cooperative game. Cooperation is particularly important in this game, and many of the levels in this game are designed for it. So, when my groupmates and I discussed with each other, we decided to play this game in an opposite way. Yes, a selfish way. We tried to get people into the game and starting as a starting point and compare who gets the finishing line first. Yes, we turned the cooperative game into a racing game. Our constraints are beat everyone, not to help others, and to be the winner. We chose a level that requires both individual and teamwork to play the game. No, a match exactly. What interesting things can we find in this contradictory game? Let's see. As participants of the game, my team members and I started from the same starting point. Interestingly, my computer was very jammed at the first time because the screen recording software and games being opened at the same time. When I experienced a few times of failure of jumping, looking at everyone far ahead of me. There is no intention of turning back. I feel the end of our friendship. And most importantly, at the same time, we had not yet assigned our respective tasks to explain. So, based on the game constraint of being the winner and not help others, I decided to turn off the screen recording app that was keeping me behind. So after that, you won't be able to say the game by my point of view. This was a level that required a lot of climbing ability, so for me, who haven't played this game yet, it was a bit difficult. But when I told my worries to my companions, I was laughed at. "Then you're done," said one of them, and at the same time, we were not friends anymore, we were competitors. In our individual competitions, we laugh at each other for those who fall off the racks, and we pay special attention to those who go further. The person who falls will be very upset and even swear. This makes the game really funny.
And I will be.
喂，
好，谢，快，出事。
In this process, there will also be very intense conflict. We will use grasping movement to block the process of others. But as the saying goes, 2 dogs strive for a bone, and a third runs away with it.
快点去拖住最后一兵，
是
，Nice job！
This is why we know from this that peaceful development is an absolute principle. Things get more interesting during the cooperation stage. In this game, players need to drag a small train as a paddle to reach higher ground. People became hesitant during this period. There is a question of cooperation or competition.
哎，我先上去，我等你们给我打工。
我也正在等。
看一下有没有人打工。
You can choose to stand in place and wait. You can choose to help others. Of course, you can also choose to harm others and yourself too.
你俩
教育兵反向打工，可爱死。
谁也别想走好吧。
反向打工，哇靠！
The same thing happens in Fall Guys hoop game. Players are faced with the choice that if they help push the small train, the person who didn't push the tree will pass faster and probably win. But if no one pushed the train, no one can get forward. Along the way, another interesting thing happened. In the game mechanic of human fall flat, if a player enters a save point, all players in the level can enter the save point if they commit suicide. This greatly increases the uncertainty of the game. This kind of cooperation, which cannot be chosen, has also changed the players' view of the game to some context. This kind of help is not equal help. In another word, it is not the players with similar ability to help each other, but the so-called strong in the game to help the weak. So, this kind of almsgiving helps change the way people think about winning in some content. Interestingly enough, the typical egoist who didn't push the train for everyone, or even pull the train away, started teaching the player who can't climb to do the climb.
就你抬
对，
头
就是你
抓
鼠标往下
然后
往后拖一下，
然后低头
应该是这样。
谢谢，这是谁呀
It's me. Hello, it's me.
？Thank you。
However, the strong has the means of the strong, and the weak have the means of the weak.
为什么？
还没有的，没有。
我没有，我特地卡了保存点，我特地没有去踩。
哎，不是吧？怎么这
太
样的人啊？
吧，我靠！
哎，我们都不动，好吧，我们都不动，看谁先死，谁怕谁啊？
你们就等那个 loading 一出，然后全部跳崖是吧？哇，真的是。
对啊，谁怕谁？
Last but not least, when the power gap is too large, despite the luck and the fate of the bonus, the very strong will eventually win.
I will get you. I
am the winner.
啊！
这里还要打工吗？哦，不用，直接开门就行了。耶！
是。
Here are 4 things I learned from this constraint. First, we have to find a good device, or we will lose at the starting point. Second, we need to use the rules of the game wisely, which may allow us to take many shortcuts. Third, sometimes showing weakness is a good way to win the game. Fourth, only with a strong strength can achieve 100% final victory. Thank you for watching. Next, let's move on to part 3.
Since Human Fall Flat is designed as a multiplayer co-op game, players play different roles in problem solving. Due to its very open game mechanism, when you play this game with your friends, the way you work together is quite similar to the real world. When I say similar, it doesn't mean that its physical engine simulates the reality, but rather from a perspective of socializing. The personality of different players will be strongly shown in the multiplayer mode of this game. So this time we decided to play it with a real-world issue as a constraint, the gender stereotype. All of the players, 3 girls and 2 boys, must act as they are in the other gender in the game, which means all the male players have to behave like women and vice versa, female players need to behave like men. Before we start to play, we had a brief discussion on what stereotypes people generally have about men and women, and it could be concluded as follows. We should act as close as possible to the statements above, both in the game and in our communication, including the way we talk and the word we use. So before starting to play, we gave our characters appropriate appearances. As expected, the 2 girls took longer time to dress up, and John even drew a face with makeup for his character. So now we have 2 female characters controlled by John and Yibing, and 3 male characters that were controlled by Tingyu, Luming, and me. I try to find an outfit that makes me look as strong and smart as possible, but as I have to be messy and unclean as well, I just randomly pick 1 trousers from the closet and put that on. Everything goes smoothly at the beginning. Luming, Tingyu, and I broke the door lock with a stone, and the 2 ladies were chit-chatting on the side. Since I had some experience of playing this level, I knew the easiest way of passing through this iron barrier.
Thank you.
I also knew that Sean and Yibin knew how to play, but they have to constrain themselves from solving the problems and leading the team actively.
This lady is too fat. This fat lady.
妈没有教过你说不能够说女孩子体重的吗？没有这样教过你吗？
At this spot, when playing in the single-player mode, players have to throw the rocks to break the stone wall on the other side so that they can get over the wall. However, in a multiplayer mode, we can launch 1 player to the other side. When any of the players reach the next save point, the game will automatically load a new scene for every player in the team. and John, acting as an idler who enjoys having fun, was very willing to be the one who experienced flying.
快要
OK, I am
这
ready.
样好恶心哦，这样好恶心。为什么要这样子啊？感觉好恐怖。
3、2、1 ，Go！
There were two scenes in this level that requires players to push the carts to certain places. Tingyu, Luming, and I went ahead to push the carts. Yibing was trying to help us.
Gentlemen 推车 ，Gentlemen 来推车。哎呀，
你推车，你不要坐在车上。
加油 ，Gentlemen！
别老子下来！
John was just standing by and waiting for us to get everything set up.
Thank
Okay,
you.
go.
Let the strong gentleman do the thing.
So it seems even though they were both girls, the characters that John and Yibin played had distinctly different personalities. But judging from their behavior and our behavior, I think in general nobody did anything that broke our rules.
快对！
没干嘛，我这边没干什么。
我操！
哎，你怎么把我拉下来了？你怎么这样子啊？你把我拉下来了。
As this level is rather long and complex, we felt exhausted to make it to the end with the role-playing. But a 40-minute playing is quite enough for us to have a fun and brand new experience that we've never done before. It was fun, to be honest, but it doesn't mean we had a comfortable time. I personally feel quite exhausted from doing almost all the work and so-called leading the team. And Tingyu also said that she was stressed out when she keeps reminding herself to get ahead of others, helping the ladies show her abilities, accept and overcome the challenges. And on the other side, Yibin said what he was trying to imitate was a specific type of female players who are not really interested in the game itself, but focus on socializing through playing the game. They show their ignorance about the game in order to get attention and help from male players. And this actually does happen in some female players. However, there is a misunderstanding that it is entirely not the way most female players actually behave. I am a female player who is willing to actively participate in the game and contribute to the team. And according to my observation of Tingyu, she is also very leadership and active in the games she is familiar with. It is true that men and women differ in their game preference. And maybe just because of these differences, it is sometimes hard for male and female players to play a video game in teams. That might be one reason that caused all of those misunderstandings of how people in different gender behave when playing games. In this gameplay, we try to emphasize and even exaggerate these misunderstandings, the differences between the two genders. And we actually saw how wrong and funny these stereotypes are. In computer games, the gap between men and women's physical functions are narrowed. Men may be physically stronger than women in the real world, but everyone is quite the same in games. The player's gender become quite ambiguous. Instead, what matters is your operating technique, your mind and thoughts, and your knowledge of this game. Thus, perhaps we should pay more attention on the potential of each player as an individual, rather than having stereotypes on male or female players.